Hello everyone. I'm going to tell a dream that I had. Um, and here it goes. I appeared outside a building with a friend next to me. This friend was in great danger because the people inside the building were not in their right minds and wanted my friend to pay for things he was not responsible for in a grave and dire way. I was outraged and was very angry, but went with my friend to try to voice reason to these ignorant and belligerent people. I should also mention the feelings that I felt in this situation because they are important in the dream. Before we went into the building, I was feeling sad that these people, whom I felt were at one time very close to me, had fallen so far, and worse yet, they did not even know it. They thought they were doing the right thing. I could not understand how they could betray me, and I was very sad but also very angered that they would betray me and my friend. And I was intent that they would hear me out. We went inside. All I could feel was hatred from these people towards my friend, and an overwhelming sense of blame on my friend from them. That angered me even more because I knew what they were putting on him, that they said was his fault, was complete crap. These were false charges which alone angered me, but even worse, they truly believed it. And all of the truth I laid out to disprove them, they would not hear it. They were like an angry mob who only wanted to torch someone or lynch them. And I was furious. I had decided I was going to take my friend out of there and leave them to rot in their own ignorant hatred. And the whole reason I went there with my friend was to try and talk sense into them and bring them back to what was truth and back to me. Because I was sad at their falling away and was afraid for them. But they would not listen. So my friend and I left the building. When we got outside, it was like our building was surrounded by a huge pine forest. The sky was gray, covered in clouds, but it was daytime, and there was a great big open grassy field in front of the building as big as 2 football fields long. So we started walking towards the end of the field, and the people came outside, and they were harassing us, trying to say I had no right to walk away, and this and that, and they were going to punish my friend. They were an angry mob, pushing and pulling at my friend and me. They just would not leave us alone. I said to them, "Enough!" I got in between them and my friend. I was so furious and angry. They had gone too far. I took my power, in the form of a staff, which was white, and had a big half ring at the top, with spikes in it, and showed it to them. I outpoured my anger and wrath on them, that they would know, in the form of released emotions. And I told them with my staff pointed at them, like a gun pointed at someone ready to fire, I could end you right now. I could blink you all out of existence right now, and that would be the end of you. There is no one above me, and all things are from me. You dare go against my wishes? Even if the things you said were true, to go against me is death. Then I outpoured my feelings of righteousness and holiness and truth and goodness on them. While I said all this, they were silent, but were still angered. They knew very well, right then and there, I could end them if they said one wrong thing. They still had the spirit of rebellion in them, and I could feel them outpour their emotions of anger and betrayal. Then they said, "We were with you, but look what happened. Look at our history, and you betrayed us?" They were trying to justify themselves towards me, and I could tell the direction it was going. It seemed my actions had almost no effect on them, and the little effect it did have was wearing off. So in that moment, I gathered up all of my power into my staff and poured out my feelings of anger and wrath and imminent death and truth and absolute power into my staff, lifted it up, and brought it down to the ground with great force. The power released outwardly from the staff, creating a ring shockwave that went further than the eye could see. Everyone was thrown back on the ground in shock. I wanted them to think I had just killed them. I wanted them to feel the anger I had on them, and the truth of their fault, and my absolute power. They were all in shock, eyes wide open, and jaws dropped. I looked at them, and they at me, in their state of shock. I patted my staff, my symbol of visual power, and then pointed it at them, and said, "Do you now understand what you deserve, meaning death, and that I am right, and you are wrong," as if I was about to smite them. It had seemed I had brought them to their senses, but to further prove myself, which they did not deserve, I took my power that was in the form of a staff, and walked before them, and put my staff carefully on the ground before them. Then I stepped back, and stood next to my friend, and waited for their response. It seemed they finally got it, but before words could be said, a great force of evilness and black haze in the form of a great and powerful wind gust bombarded us. And as it continued, there was a poison in the gust that got stronger as more time went on. It was almost as if right when I released them from their poisoned minds, this black wind attacked. I went to my staff and slammed it on the ground, creating a field of protection, and said to everyone, "Come, I will protect you." And they all came to me in my field of protection. But the wind was so strong, it was very hard for them to make it to me. And even while we were protected by the evilness and the poison, the strength of the wind was still hard on them, but not as bad as before they entered my protection. Then many dogs came running out of the pine forest from the direction of the black haze, trying to escape it, but they all died. They would not enter my circle of protection, and even when they entered accidentally, out of fear, they left the circle and perished, and then I woke up. This dream, all I can say is, it was amazing. I've never had a dream quite like this. I also drew a picture. It's not very good, so I apologize. But this is similar kind of to what the staff looked like. I don't know if you can see. It basically looked like a shepherd's crook. What you use to lead the sheep if they go too far, so you can lead them in the direction you want them to go. But it had spikes in it. It's not a very good drawing. Spikes almost as if to hurt so that you don't try to escape the crook. So, it was really cool, but I guess that's not really what matters. And I don't know how many spikes were in the crook, I'm sorry. I can't remember. 4 or 5, I don't know really. So obviously, God gave me this dream. He wanted me to have it, and He wanted me to tell, He wanted to tell me how it felt in His eyes when we reject Him. The big picture, God showed me how He feels when we reject Him. And while you are alive, you can still return to Him and abide in Him, and not in our own understanding. This dream had a sense of urgency. Get right with the Lord now, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. There's a lot of things that I could say I believe what the symbolism was for. I feel like some of it's obvious, and some people have no ability to discern dreams. I don't want to read too deeply into it. I want it to be interpreted how you interpret it, and hopefully that's a biblical way. But, yeah, that's it.